Growing enthusiasm for Western classical music in China leads to good opportunities for piano sales in the Chinese market. Could piano pieces strike a chord with CIIE visitors? On that, I talked to Ron Losby, CEO of the American piano maker Steinway Sons. Stay tuned.
The reason that the growth is so pronounced in China.
Welcome back. This is World Insight with me, Tian Wei. Deeper pockets and a newfound focus on well-being are fueling lifestyle changes among many Chinese, a transition that is absolutely music to the ears of piano makers. More and more Chinese are studying music, including learning the piano. This spells a business boom for companies like Steinway Sons amid sluggish sales worldwide. The company took part in the last two CIIEs, and this year they're coming again. I got a chance to talk with Ron Losby, President and CEO of Steinway Sons, on the significance of the CIIE and business opportunities from a nation hungry for music. And I'm happy to be joined by Ron Losby, who is the President and CEO of Steinway Sons. What a pleasure, Mr. Losby, to see you.
It is my pleasure to be here. Good morning.
Good morning to you, and probably I should say good evening as well. Tell me more about how do you consider the importance of the Chinese market for Steinway throughout history and particularly now?
Well, I have to say that the Chinese market for really the last 20 years has been the primary growth market for Steinway Sons and other piano manufacturers. It is one of the few markets that, in terms of actual unit sales of Steinway pianos, is growing year on year. And we've seen, of course, our business growing year on year. And I believe that the reason that the growth is so pronounced in China is that the average consumer understands the importance of music education for their children. And this has fueled a purchasing of many pianos, but including our pianos, and we believe it will continue unabated for quite some time. If we look at Europe and North America, those are what we call mature markets, and they're basically very stable in terms of the number of pianos that are purchased by consumers. But China, I'm very pleased to say, because of this reverence for music education, is growing, and we intend to grow along with it.
Mr. Losby, many believe education is the key for communications, and it's also the key for the world to work together for the longer term. When it comes to music education, how do you think classical music, particularly Western classical music, has been transforming, China's understanding, Chinese children and their families' understanding about what's going on in the rest of the world?
Well, music does bring us all together, and it's a language that if we don't speak the same common language that we speak from our tongues, music is something we can all understand because it is international. And I believe that the love of Western music that has come out of the people of China, I think it's so universal it almost doesn't matter where the music comes from, because classical music just speaks to each of us individually and expresses emotions in a musical format that every human being can relate to. And I'm really pleased to say too that the study of music is something, classical music is something that actually creates skills that can be transferred to other areas in one's life, whether it be medicine or business or virtually anything, because it provides discipline, self-confidence. You're learning a new language, you're starting a project, a piece of music, and you're not going to stop learning that until you finish it. So it also creates an attention span that frankly is lacking in many individuals that don't have that discipline.
Well, Mr. Losby, as you may know very well, that even China-U.S. relations in the past few decades once was building the bridge through music because of some of the symphony orchestra's visits to China, and that certainly has opened the door for communications. Having said that, though, you have a lot of showrooms in China. I've been going to some of these showrooms, and I saw Chinese parents leading their children, wandering around, you know, head over heels in love with the piano, the one that's almost right behind you right now. So I'm sure that is a very promising market. How do you think the combine of communication and also music can be together with education as well, to make this cooperation, this potential, ever bigger?
Well, music is a bridge, as you say. It's a bridge between peoples, and in this day and time, so many great artists are coming from China. Let's take Long Long, for an example. He concertizes all over the world. Yundi Li, Yuja Wang. They concertize everywhere, and they're great ambassadors, not just for music, but also for China. And when they come over here, they play this great music, and they're ambassadors for your wonderful country. It brings all of our peoples together, whether you're European or South American or North American, and it builds this wonderful bridge through communication, through music. And I believe that that is what has basically opened up a dialogue between many Chinese, many Americans, many Europeans, because it's a language that all of us can understand.
And I know that you are also going to the Import Expo in Shanghai, even though there's difficulty to travel for you personally, but your company is going to be there, your staff is going to be there, you're going to have some wonderful show for all of the audience going to the Expo. Tell me more about it.
Well, this is really a very important forum for us, and yes, this year it may be diminished somewhat, but we felt as a company it was important to be represented there, because there will be people, not just from China, but from other countries that come to this show. And I think it's important that Steinway and many other musical instrument companies display during this time, because music is one of the few things that really can bring everybody closer together, even when we're distant because of this pandemic. So we felt from a commercial standpoint that it was really very important, but also from an emotional standpoint, just to say that, you know, we are in a different world right now temporarily, but we're not going to let it affect us in such a way that we just do, you know, contract everything. So we feel that this exposure is extremely important for Steinway, as well as the other companies that are also displaying their products.
When music is flowing in the air, I guess the pain of the pandemic is fading away. Having said that, though, Mr. Losby, we are all optimistic persons, but we have to face the reality. The pandemic does have a dampening effect on the industry, on the performing arts, and many other areas. How do you see the immediate challenge as a result of this?
Well, the very real challenge in most parts of the world is that the concert venues where we have live performance are just not open. No. They're not available for live performance, and that is indeed a pity, because there's nothing that will replace a live performance. That being said, though, our industry has become very creative. Steinway has become very creative in sending music via the internet in various different forms right into someone's home or right into a school that keeps us all connected. I mean, I was looking at a university the other day from Europe that had this incredible concert of all these orchestra members, and they were all in different places, and they were all playing an orchestral piece. And frankly, it was quite good and quite interesting, and for a moment I forgot that I wasn't in an audience, that I was sitting at home listening to this. So I think the creativity in taking digital communication to a different level has enabled musicians to at least remain connected to their audiences to a certain degree. But there's no doubt that for the performers that are used to live concerts, it's been devastating for them, because they just don't have the opportunity right now. And in some areas where they do, because of the various quarantine rules, they can't go for one night because they're quarantined for 14 days once they get there or before they get there. But I do believe that the internet, the digital interface that has been developed by so many creative musicians around the world, is something that's going to serve us well long after this pandemic is a distant memory.
Right. Tell me about which piece did you listen to when you heard about performance from the European Orchestra?
It was Revels Bolero, and if you're
Oh.
familiar with that piece, I mean, it's one of these great instrumental works that starts out very small and keeps building and building and building to this incredible climax. And all of these wonderful students were coming in at the correct times, and then it was just really an emotional experience for me to think that all of these students were in different places around the world, not just in one country, and they were able to create this great musical art that emotionally moved me, and I'm sure everyone else who was listening to this.
Sounds already exhilarating, even through the description of yours. I can see the lights in your eyes when you're talking about that performance. Certainly one who is really in love with music. Having said that, though, Mr. Losby, the quality of sound is extremely important for a piano like the one that you are producing, Steinway Sons. And, the color, the shining, the texture of everything that's involved in this piano also gives people pleasure. As a whole, it gives a total image. But now, of course, through internet, we will be able to demonstrate some of those. But the real sound quality of a concert hall likely to be compromised. So how do you see this, especially for the very high-end quality of pianos that you produce and you are proud of?
Well, you're right. There's nothing that's going to replace being in the room with the piano that either you're thinking of purchasing or that you wish to play. So it does compromise the experience to a certain amount. But I have to say, it's been very interesting to me that around the world during this pandemic, from February to today, we have sold many, many new Steinway grand pianos, and the customers have not even touched the instrument until it arrived at their home. And I've done some sort of research by calling these customers here in North America saying, why would you choose to purchase an expensive instrument without ever playing it or seeing it personally? And I was so gratified because what they said was the Steinway brand, the Steinway name, is synonymous with quality, with craftsmanship, and with integrity. And I do know that even if I can't play the piano before it's delivered, that it's going to meet or exceed my expectations. So very interestingly, we have actually been very fortunate around the world during these shutdown periods of our showrooms to actually sell pianos, if you want to say, online, which is something I never thought would be possible. And it's because of the power of the brand, the integrity, the legacy, just the overall honesty of what Steinway represents to everyone in the world. It's around the world, it's synonymous, that they feel so comfortable. Plus, we have this wonderful new opportunity for Steinway pianos called Stereo. And it is the world's first high-resolution player piano that comes seamlessly built into a Steinway piano. And what this has done during this pandemic is it's created a home entertainment system for those individuals who don't play the piano, who want great quality of sound. They want great music. And with the touch swipe of an iPad, you have the world's finest Steinway artists entertaining you in your home.
Right.
And while we are initially surprised that this was something that customers would purchase without seeing, now it's become rather sort of normal for a customer to say, please send one out. And it's because of the Steinway brand and because of the wonderful Steinway artists like Long Long and Yuja that have made this purchase so seamless from afar.
Good news, certainly. There are different levels of pianos produced, manufactured by Steinway Sons. How do you see the different levels of market, and how do you see the overall approach and changing of the market in different places, including here in China?
Well, we do. We have 3 different brands of pianos. The Steinway brand is built only in New York and Hamburg factories. Then we have Boston piano, and we have the Essex piano. And those are premium instruments within their price category, and they're built on what we call an OEM basis. They are Steinway designs, they're proprietary designs, and what they do is provide a customer not quite yet ready for their Steinway piano, an introduction to the family of Steinway design pianos. And these instruments, whether it be a Boston or an Essex, are more widely available because of their price range.
Right.
But it's very interesting because they are guaranteed by Steinway. They are delivered by the same people that deliver Steinways. The technicians are the same technicians that take care of them, that take care of Steinway pianos. So there's a lot of Steinway in each of these two brands. But because the price is a more entry-level price on some, it enables a much larger group of consumers to experience a Steinway product. And then we hope, and many have, they trade up to a Steinway grand piano in a few years after they have had the introduction to a Steinway product.
Music will be a big help in that regard. Thank you so much. Mr.
Thank
Losby.
you. A delight to talk with you.
Yeah, President and CEO of Steinway Sons. Thank you. The enthusiasm for classical music to the ears of piano makers like Steinway and Sons. That's all the time we have for today. If you'd like to see more, try to search World Insight or check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Tian Wei. On behalf of the team, thanks for watching. Bye for now.